Zombies have been a popular topic in movies, TV shows, and video games for decades. But what if I told you that a zombie apocalypse is not just a Hollywood fantasy? What if it's actually a very real possibility? In this video, we're going to explore some groundbreaking theories and information that suggest that a zombie-like outbreak could potentially occur. From prion diseases to bath salts to technological malfunctions, we'll examine some of the most compelling evidence and theories out there. So sit back and get ready to delve into the fascinating and frightening world of the zombie apocalypse. First off, let me just clarify something. Reanimation after death is currently not possible. So if that's the case, then how could a zombie apocalypse happen? Well, while it's not possible for the dead to be reanimated in the traditional sense, there are some diseases and drugs that can affect the brain, causing individuals to exhibit zombie-like behavior while still alive. In a real-life, quote-unquote, zombie apocalypse, individuals would become violent, display mindless behavior, and start killing other people. This will eventually lead to societal breakdown and chaos. In contrast to the portrayal in movies, people wouldn't become zombies after they die, but rather while they're alive. That's the only tiny difference between a zombie apocalypse in movies or games and a potential zombie apocalypse in the real world. These violent and mindless zombies that you see in video games and movies are very possible in the real world, but just without the post-death reanimation aspect. Now that I explained what I mean by a zombie apocalypse, let us try to understand how it could possibly happen in the real world. Globalization. With the rise of globalization, people and goods are traveling across the world faster and more frequently than ever before. This increases the likelihood of diseases spreading across borders and potentially causing a pandemic. Antibiotic resistance. Antibiotic resistance is a growing problem, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to treat bacterial infections. If a new disease were to emerge that was resistant to all known antibiotics, it could potentially cause a pandemic. Climate change. Climate change is causing ecosystems to shift and new diseases to emerge. As temperatures rise and habitats change, animals and insects are adapting and evolving in ways that could potentially lead to new and dangerous diseases. Speaking of diseases, let's talk about viruses for a bit. They can cause everything from the common cold to deadly diseases like Ebola and COVID-19. But what if a virus could actually make a person more aggressive and develop the tendency to transmit the disease by biting other humans? Sounds crazy, right? Well, not necessarily. There's a virus out there that's been known to cause some pretty odd behavior in its victims, the rabies virus. Rabies is typically spread through the saliva of infected animals, usually through a bite or scratch. When a person is infected with rabies, it can cause a whole host of symptoms, including fever, headache, and muscle weakness. But here's where things get interesting. As the virus progresses, it can cause delirium and hallucinations, leading to a desire to bite or attack others. Sound familiar? That's right, we're talking about zombie behavior here. Now, to be clear, rabies doesn't typically cause a full-blown zombie outbreak, but it does provide a glimpse into how a virus could potentially cause a zombie-like apocalypse. And it's not just rabies we have to worry about. There are plenty of other viruses out there that could evolve in unexpected ways and potentially wreak havoc on humanity. Now, aside from viruses, genetic mutations could also play a role in the zombie apocalypse. We're talking about mutations that could cause a human to reanimate after death and have a desire to chow down on human flesh. Okay, I know that sounds far-fetched, but hear me out. There's a rare genetic mutation called myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy. This mutation causes increased muscle mass in humans. Some people with this mutation are known as super strong humans. But what if a similar mutation caused someone to behave like a zombie or even reanimate after death? Okay, the reanimation part is very unlikely as I explained in the beginning, but I believe that a genetic mutation that makes someone want to cannibalize others is not as crazy as it sounds. However, such a mutation wouldn't be natural, it would probably be the result of genetic modification and engineering. After all, there are plenty of examples of genetic mutations causing physical changes in humans. Myostatin muscle hypertrophy is just one of them. There's even a mutation that gives humans the ability to see in the dark. Now let's talk about prion diseases. One theory that has been proposed is the idea that a prion disease could potentially cause a zombie-like apocalypse. Prion diseases are caused by misfolded proteins in the brain, and they're notoriously difficult to treat because they can't be killed by antibiotics or antiviral drugs. In humans, prion diseases include Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and Kuru disease, both of which can cause zombie-like symptoms like dementia, hallucinations, and changes in behavior. But what if a prion disease caused someone to become a zombie? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. In fact, researchers have already discovered a prion disease in deer and elk called chronic wasting disease, which is also called the zombie deer disease. Like a fictional zombie, this disease goes after the brain, leaving animals with porous, spongy brain tissue. Animals who have CWD will become emaciated and disoriented before ultimately dying. Now here's the scary part. Some experts believe that CWD, the disease that turns deers into zombies, could potentially jump to humans and cause a zombie-like outbreak. Another theory that's been proposed is the idea that a drug could cause a zombie apocalypse. For example, there's a drug known as bath salts, which has been associated with zombie-like behavior in several high-profile cases. Bath salts contain synthetic cathinones, which can cause hallucinations, paranoia, and violent behavior. In many cases, people who have taken bath salts have exhibited zombie-like symptoms like biting and scratching. So, what's the takeaway here? Should we all be preparing for the zombie apocalypse? Well, probably not. But it's important to remember that there are real threats out there, from deadly viruses to potential genetic mutations. It's up to us to stay vigilant and take precautions to protect ourselves and our loved ones. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be thanking ourselves for having that zombie survival kit on hand. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. See you next time.